about that?
Support.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Coffee Talk. Today, oh, we're on. Hey, we got the folks here. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This is why we can't have nice things.
You know what? I'm sorry.
All right, so we're here with Father Moses, and we've got Mike back here too, doing. What are you doing back here? Praying. We got Mike back here praying.
I'm not in it.
Yeah, here, bring it up.
Oh, I found it. See, it's just weird. Okay, we got it. We're okay.
There we go. See, now we're moving. Now we're moving and
You're
changing.
not trying to exclude you from the equation, just factor yourself in. Good.
I'm just trying to socially distance myself.
That's,
You're doing a great job at it.
Thanks.
Just bring that up a little. There we go. Okay. So, guys, welcome back to Coffee Talk.
Oops,
we
sorry.
have Father Moses here, and we are live and ready to go. We're ready to take your questions, but we're just gonna kind of start off casual. As we're walking over here, we're talking about maybe just starting off with some family talk. You know, like what's your family like? You know, so maybe we could start there. I think that's a good place to start.
yeah,
What do you
that's
think?
a good way to start. Yeah, I remember as we were coming from the office, I was just asking Adam, like, how did you meet Annie? And that's like, okay, maybe we can start a coffee talk today with that. Now, it's thrown the question to me, family. For me, family is everything for me. Um, I'm one of 7 children, and I'm number 5th. Um, but now, one of my sisters passed, so we're 6 now. Her name was Mary, and she died in 2007, September 7th, and we buried her on the birthday of Mary the following day. So it wasn't a coincidence. But besides that, I'm from a very devout family. My mom, dad, they're Catholics, and all of my siblings, except for some of them who are now, I have siblings, female siblings who are now married to Protestant pastors, you know, like, all right, we're still serving the same God. We are all Christians. But one family tradition that I cherish the most is the fact that, I don't know if I've said this on this same platform, that at my house, every morning by 5 a.m. in the morning, my dad jingles his bell and everyone comes out for prayer. You only don't come out for prayer when you're about to die, or probably maybe you will die the next day. It's just to emphasize the importance of family prayers. By 5 a.m. in the morning, everyone has to come out. And that is one treasure. That is one tradition that I can never forget. Learning that from my dad. And even as a priest, every 5 a.m. in the morning, if I set my alarm to wake up for 6 o'clock, by 5, somehow my eyes are open, because I've been taught that way, and it's just part of me. But other than that, family is good. 3 boys and 3 girls.
Nice.
3 girls are all married. The boys, one is an engineer, one is a hairstylist, and my sisters, one is an English school teacher, and the other one is into business. She's a stylist too, a hairstylist, and everyone is doing good for themselves. But that's about it. So
How is it being? Are they all still in Africa?
yeah, they're all in Nigeria. They're all in Lagos. Lagos is a very big city with a gigantic population of about 25 million people. So it's a rugged and bubbling city like New York City, Manhattan.
That's huge.
It is huge. It is huge.
So, what is it like to go back home? Is it a big party? Like, do you miss your siblings, or is it like once in a while when you get to see them, you're like, okay.
No, I mean it's. I remember going home this past December. I was home for my Thanksgiving mass, and it was big. I mean, I saw uncles, cousins I've not seen in a while. Like I've not seen them like in 15 years. They came around, and I made sure I visited all of my siblings, even those who are married, and we came together. We had family reunion, which is something we do now every year. So I plan on going back this December. I just hope this whole pandemic thing will just stop, and I look forward to going home in December, to reunite with my family. Even if I go home for 2 weeks, it is huge. I remember this past December, I baptized one of my nieces, a new one. Martita is her name. She's just 6 months. Uh,
That's so
yeah,
cute.
yeah. So it's a big thing. Family is a big thing for me.
Wow. So, what do you guys do for fun when you get together? You play games? You guys have cookouts? What is a family celebration like in
Like
Nigeria?
at home, usually if we're in one of my sister's place, we'll just it's basically chatting, catching up with old time jokes when we were little. I remember one of my sisters. I mean, I wouldn't say she was a turn or she's a turn in my neck, but we usually we just go forward and back. Um, kind of like not harassing, but we just talk at each other. At the slightest provocation, we just yell, like, no one's still being talk. We'll do that, and we'll remember old fun memories with everyone, how we grew up, different mannerisms from each member of the family. But for my other brothers, my younger ones, all we do is when we come together like that, we talk, and after a while, we um, play football, play soccer, what we call soccer. But now these guys are way taller than myself. I remember even when we get together, we'll practice how to kind of like fight boxing. You know, I used to be taller than them, but now they're taller than myself. I'm like, Moses, you're a priest. You better take it easy. You don't want somebody to just take out one of your teeth.
Red card.
Yeah. So other than that, we just get together, old time jokes, and we'll play. Card is not usually a big thing with family. More is just all about talk, talk, talk. How you feeling? What's happening now? What's new in your life? And we have a meal over that. So
Mm. Mm. That's fun. Nicole, what is it like for you?
Family?
Yeah. You guys get together. What is a Janicek get together?
I don't really have family get-togethers. Okay, mom's side, it's just me and my mom here in Buffalo. So when we get together, I don't know. It just depends on the day. Sometimes we go get food. Sometimes I'm just hanging out at her apartment, playing card games, and she thinks I cheat, but I don't cheat. We play gin rummy. That's what we like to play. Um, that's that. Sometimes, like, when my uncle lived in Buffalo, he lives in Las Vegas now. Again, just hang out at my mom's apartment, and just chill. Pretty chill. We were supposed to go on a cruise in May. That got canceled.
Where were you gonna go?
Bermuda.
oh,
So that's fun. But I don't know. That's Janisek's not Janisek, Schreiber. Sorry, Schreiber. Different last name. My mom and I don't have the same last name. So she's Schreiber, I'm Janisek. So that's the Schreiber side. Janisek, my dad and I are pretty similar, personality wise.
okay.
I get a lot of my extrovertness from my dad. So, and we're just very sarcastic to each other. Like, I don't know. We just kind of like to jab fun at each other all the time. And it depends on who he's dating, what we do. Having a new girlfriend or a new wife, there's always something new that we do. My family's complicated.
There you go.
I'm
Hey,
like,
but it's your
you're like,
family,
you're
right?
gonna talk about family? Oh boy.
You know what? It's like what's that saying? You can pick your friends, you can pick your nose,
But you can't
but you
pick your
can't pick
family.
your family.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. No, I live by that. I mean, my family scenario is very unique. I don't have the mother father together with the child thing. I have mother father divorced, father divorced again, father dating more people, and then they just keep breaking up, and then mom's mom and she's been single but now is dating a guy. I like the guy now, but I've learned to not really establish relationships with these significant others because who knows when they're gonna break up. And then my dad's side, everyone lives in Florida. And I've never really had a super close relationship with my dad's side of the family. I haven't seen my grandparents in 10 years, something like that. Yeah, and then my mom's side, I'm the only grandchild between my grandparents, but they died 6 years ago.
Mhm.
So I don't have any cousins on my mom's side, besides like second cousins or whatever, and they're like in New Jersey and
Wow. Sounds like we need a road trip.
we can't right now, but
The gas is cheap. We could probably make money driving down to Florida.
So
with it.
Florida, how long would that take? Like 3 days or so?
yeah, it takes.
It's a 24-hour straight shot drive.
Yeah,
But
I did it once.
Wow.
Well,
I've done it.
when my dad was married to the second wife, so my ex stepmom, follow the logic. Myself, my ex stepmom, my ex step siblings, and my dad all drove down to Florida in one day. It was the worst experience of my life. I
Worst?
yeah, I had to sit in the middle. It was horrible.
Okay, that's the worst.
It's the worst. And we went down and we just hung out, and there you go. And it was fine. But again, that was like 10 years ago.
My dad took us to Disney World when we were kids, and he had a Dodge pickup truck that had the short bench in the back. So you had 2 full seats, and then you had, I think there was 3 of us in the back, 3 kids in this
Yep.
short bench of the pickup truck, and we had the whole back bed of the pickup truck full of garbage bags with our clothes in it. We looked like hillbillies cutting across the country. But we did it.
incredible.
We did Disney World that way.
I think the coolest thing with my scenario is my ex step family I still talk to. So my ex stepsister just had a baby. She's got to be like 1.5 now, not just so had a baby. So I've talked to her, and then my ex step brother is dating somebody I graduated high school with. Remember Angela Miranda?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like seriously dating, and I'm like,
Way to
huh?
go.
So
There you go.
I have a lot of very interesting connections to this area. I just know people.
But I think the one interesting thing too, as you were talking, that family sometimes might not just should not be streamlined to just bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
That in the relationships we make, and people become our family,
Mhm.
and even as a priest, you look at it that when people tell you stories, oh, my family is this, my family is that, this and that, and I try to tell them that God was not making a mistake for having all of you come from the same root, maybe the same father, the same mother.
Mhm.
Parents might be divorced or
Mhm.
what have you, but it was never a mistake that we came from the parentage, the root we came from, and God does not make mistake whether or not we like it. It is we human beings sometimes who don't get the logic of our creation. I mean, like things will happen. People might go their separate ways, but the ability to just like now you relate with your mom, you relate with your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, and along the line you just have another network of relationship with,
Mhm.
which in a way sometimes you even maintain such relationship closer than
Mhm.
bloodline family. So I always tell people, if you're having problem with siblings or whatever, you try to iron out your issues, but don't ever see it as a mistake that God created you to come from the same bloodline. is not a mistake from God, and none of us is a mistake. I mean, this past Sunday when I was preaching, I was quoting the words of Pope Benedict XVI. One of my favorite in terms of, I mean, he writes a lot of good books, good reflection. He said one time that we're not just a product of evolution, that each of us, we're a thought in the mind of God. And that kind of like, yeah, that we are all loved into existence. And one way of coming into existence is through family. So our families, no matter how we look at them, we'll see Jesus, see God in a family line. And when we look at even the family tree of Jesus Christ, we see that um, in his family root, everybody was not straight people. When I mean straight people, they're not, some of them were wacko. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but Jesus chose to still come from that same root. I mean, you can look at his big father line. David was a crazy dude.
Yeah,
mean,
David had some moments.
yeah,
David had some moments.
some moments. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that
right?
word. Some
Right? Like he was
moments.
doing all right, and then he was like, I'm gonna have a moment now and just really mess up.
And
Like really bad.
and Jesus has decided to just come from that same root. A lot of wonderful women along that line too. Women who were even strangers, who were brought into the family, but it's just sometimes we just don't understand that mystery behind that word family. So
Yeah.
families big.
Yeah, my sometimes for me, like I don't say uncomfortable, but it can be so it's sometimes difficult for me to talk about my family, but not for me, but for other people. Because when they hear like my structure, they're like, this is really uncomfortable. You have a very interesting, kind of messed up background. Like they don't know how to react when I tell them my structure and like what has transpired in my family tree and stuff. And my mom actually watches this stuff, so
Hey, Mom.
I don't know if she's on here now, but she watches
Hey,
it.
mom.
But the thing is, I wouldn't trade where I came from. It was not the easiest upbringing ever. I'm not gonna lie. But my mom worked her butt off to get me through everything, and my dad and our relationship has been up and down. Like, but this is where I come from.
Yeah.
This is my background, and God put me in this family specifically for a reason.
Yeah.
I think one of the most interesting things that I ever really in my job come across is, kids come to youth group and they look at me and they're like, oh, she's just this like perfect Catholic like structure, whatever. And then I'll tell them about my family life, my background, and they're like, what? That's literally my life. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like divorce is a big one. Divorce is a big one. Kids don't, they see people in my position and they think that you have to be perfect to have a perfect family background to be a youth minister, to be a leadership in the Catholic Church. But the reality is no.
Yeah.
God purposely put me in this position to connect to kids who go through ugly divorces and go through difficult scenarios.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
That's how I put it. I will say, life is larger than logic. Sometimes, I mean, no one goes into marriage, for instance, with the intention of getting divorced. But reality, things will just happen. I mean, you think you're having lemonade all the wine, your lemonade starts turning to lemon, and life toss gives you lemon on your journey of life, and like, okay, how do I spin this around? It can be tough. So life is larger than logic. People are going through a lot of difficulties, the twists and turns of life, and it is actually for some family, in a way, it made them. So for some family, it actually marred them. It's like, how do we react to all of this situation? I mean, given your background, like what you've just said now, able to move through even the crucible of difficulties, and here you are, one of our youth ministers here, and helping our young ones to see that, you can navigate through life through the same way, especially when you factor one thing into it, that is faith. You factor faith. I tell people three things that will always keep a man or a woman going in life. faith, family, and friendship. You know, you find out that the moment we are caught away from those three structures, you're just existing. You're no longer living.
Yeah.
You're just like a vegetable in a way, just wandering. Once you take away faith, take away family, and friendship. I mean, good friendship. Look at stories of those who um, tell you how life has actually dealt with them. These are the things they talk about. Or the moment I left home, you see the loophole. Or the moment I left Jesus, you see the loophole. And I was hanging out with bad friends, you see the loophole. And when people want to trace their story back, they still bring it back to, oh, I found faith in St. Gregory. I found a new family in St. Gregory. Started making friends in St. Gregory. You see, the narrative start coming back together. So it's a huge topic we're talking about family life, but with our family, we have, it's like forming a tripod. The way we have now is like this three angle: faith, family, friendship. Is like forming a triangle. It keeps the world going. You know?
Relationships, family, friends, whatever, should really, if you want, like, be rooted in faith. Like, really, because even friendships, like, you're gonna go up and down. Like, I don't think there's any time where there's friendships that are perfect. Just like marriage is not perfect.
Yeah.
Just, I've seen the imperfection of marriage. I've seen what happens when you don't have faith at the center of it, because you don't have anything to cling on to. You're just living day by day. All of my family's relationships, mom, dad, with their various people, there's no faith in it. There's not, and it's not. They don't have anything to root themselves on, and it can be difficult to do that. And it kind of, in a way, like, I know it sounds crazy, but it, like, has prepared me for my future relationships, my future spouse, whatever, because I've seen a lot of brokenness and what not to do. So I know what to do. Again, preparing me, my God giving me my family that I love, preparing me for whatever's to come.
And I think just with any relationship, whether it's with friends, family, or with Christ, you have to work at it. It's not something that is just easy, come and go. Like, I am going to enter the relationship and now it's autopilot, because people are always changing. I mean, Christ is constant, of course, but we change. And there's things in our life that change. And so our relationship with Christ, our relationship with friends and family, those are always in flux too. With friends and family, because they're changing too. And so when you've got two people who are changing and growing, you have to be able to keep up on that relationship and pour into it. And sometimes it gets away from you, and you wake up and you're years down the road, and then you realize, like, oh my gosh, this is different. And the relationship is different, and you just realized it. And you had a large period of time where it slipped by. And so then you can either do one of two things. You can either just say, you know what, it's different, and we're just gonna step away, or you can get back into it, not as it was, but as it is now. And that applies between friends, family, and with Christ too. And I think that's one of those wake up moments that we have often, especially when you've had a relationship that's kind of been on that autopilot for a little bit, and whatever has happened, you have that wake up moment where you're like, oh my gosh, something is wrong in this relationship. And I think when divorces come up, a lot of times when I hear of people walking through divorce, that is part of it, where they just kind of woke up, I don't know if I love them anymore. Like, they just had this wake up moment where, I don't know. I don't know if that's it. Maybe that there's reconciliation in there, and maybe there's not. But what you know for sure is that you don't know unless you try. And if you just walk away from it, that's easy to do. You could just say, you know what, it's just going to be too hard for me to just start all over again, to pour into that cup again. I'm going to cut my losses and start fresh, start new. But when you start again, you have to undo damage that has been in the past. And the same is true with Christ, right? Like, if you've been away from Christ for a while, you got to come back into it and be like, Lord, you know where I've been. I just need to come to you. I'm sorry. Like I'm sorry I've been away. And that same thing happens within our families and friends, right? You'd be like, hey, look, it's been a while. I'm sorry. Like I just wanna let's reconnect. Let's get to know each other a little bit more. You know? So that's it's a tricky road. Relationships take a lot of effort.
Yeah.
You can't just sleep on them.
You know, the point you just raised now was just um, driving home even the point I was making on a Sunday homily about, yeah, Jesus Christ died for us, fine, but what is our own role? You said something about we human beings changing, and at the same time, we shouldn't just be stagnant. We have to play our own part. And that led me to making a distinction between um, despair and presumption. Like we can just say that, oh, Jesus Christ died for me. No matter anything I do, even when I sin, my sin is all covered. Jesus Christ has died for me. I don't have to do more than the fact that He died for me. That's being presumptuous of God's mercy, you know. And the extreme of that is despair. Like, I'm a great sinner. I'm this. I mean, I don't think God can ever forgive me. I don't think the love of God can ever wash my sin away. That's on the another extreme. Despair, presumption. And where are we supposed to be is to be at the center, to always realize that, God's love is bigger than our imagination. But that if God has forgiven me my sin, what do I have to say? Thank you, God, for doing this. And one way of saying thank you is to move away from anything that would upset the love between myself and God. So there we're playing our part to live according to the gospel message by avoiding sin. And if for whatever reason we fall, we get up. Jesus forgive us. It's like just being at the center. But being at the center requires us to play our part, to realize that um, I've sinned, and the Spirit of God in us tells us, I need to go to confession. Let me walk at this, like you said. Let me get up and just fix it. But we can't fix it alone. We need the grace of God. But as we, pray for the grace of God, we want to cooperate with that grace. So, just to lend credence to what he's saying, that uh, things might happen to us, but that we must play our part. We shouldn't just say, yeah, life has given me a tough time. I don't think I want to fight life. I don't think so. You just throw in the towel on life. So it's something that we have to keep working at as human beings.
Hmm.
I think also we need to realize that like in time we change too. Like us personally. Like who we are 10 years ago is not who we're going to be in 10 years.
Yes.
So with our relationships with God, family, friends, we need to understand that it's going to change in time because we change. We're not meant to be stagnant and be the same person we were when we were 10 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Or 14 or 20. I don't like we're not the same person. We're not going to be the same person always. So we have to be prepared to react to that and like be willing to understand, okay, how I think is different. Now my relationships are going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, 25-year-old Adam wants different stuff than 35-year-old Adam, you know? And I think it would be interesting to sit here across the microphone with 25-year-old Adam, because my mindset was totally different back then. Still projecting forward, there's still the same things I wanted, but there's a lot of growth that happens in 10 years.
So what do you think has changed? Like, just put it side by side, a 25-year-old Adam and a 35-year-old Adam. Is it family that has changed that, marriage and children, or what?
Yeah.
What likely changed all of those?
Vocation is certainly the powerful change in between all of that, because 25-year-old Adam was in pursuit of, and then 35-year-old Adam is in the growth of,
Oh.
and there's nothing that I would have been able to tell myself then to get me prepared for where I'm at today. Just the experience of it changes you, between having to try to live selflessly from yourself for your family is a much different mindset of, man, I need to go and find my wife. You know, like, and even at the time, I was still, I was wrestling between priesthood and
Really?
marriage myself. Yeah,
Really? I've never heard that part. You were wrestling between.
I did. Yeah.
So if for whatever reason, if you had gone to the seminary, were you planning to be like a diocesan priest or a monk?
Well, I fought it
You
for
know,
a long
you
time.
keep your beard sometimes. Probably you might be a monk in one of these monasteries.
Yeah, I'd probably look pretty good with a buzz head and big beard. I could probably pull that off. Yeah, no, I fought it. I didn't get to the point where I was like, diocesan, or should I be some? I wasn't thinking that far. What was weighing on my heart was this call of duty to the priesthood. Because I had a sense that, there was a need, in the priesthood, and I said, man, that is just a drum beating on me. It's like priesthood, 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 and here I am trying to live out a faithful life as a young man, and that's, I don't want to say it's rare, but it's rare out there, especially when you're in your 20s and you're trying to live out that in the midst of kind of a culture that isn't doing that. I just figured, all right, well, I feel like I'm being called to this, in a way, but in a way that it was in a sense of duty as opposed to the desire, and the desire was on the marriage part. I desired marriage, but felt the duty towards priesthood, and even when I was in high school, our parish priest freaked me out a little bit. Great guy, there's nothing against him. He took me out to Denny's one time, and we're just shooting.
Ooh.
I spent 24 hours on a Denny's.
I know, you told
Wow.
me.
Yes, it's true. It's true. If any of
No, I'm just
any of those
saying.
guys are tuned in here.
The youth minister place is Denny's, Panera, Spot.
Hey, Mary Florence,
Tim
good to see you.
Hawkins.
But yeah, so he took me out to Denny's, and he's like, we're just shooting the breeze, and then he tells me, it is a saying,
I'm
Nicole,
sorry.
shooting the breeze.
is.
It's
I've never
it's a
heard
saying.
this before
Shooting the
until we
breeze.
all started hanging out.
Yeah.
So
You call it
literally, what does that
creek.
mean?
Anyways, so we go to Denny's, and he asked me, he's like, Adam, have you ever thought about being a priest? And I was like, no. And
He must have seen something in you. There is always, when people say things like that to you, perhaps, I don't know how you guys know each other. There's always something that you see in someone, like, there's something in you that is just attractive to a particular vocation, maybe that was what he saw that and that's part of discernment, and I'm glad you were able to discern through that, and you found the marriage vocation, which for me, I love being a priest. I love being a priest. And if you ask me any day, anytime, family comes first in a way. I mean, like, it's from families you get those who become priests. Yeah. It's a vocation, like, for priesthood, we'll go into that vocation, we've been trained for it, we'll discern. When you marry, I mean, like, one of the hardest things to do is, I've never been a parent though, but people don't go to school for that, right?
To be a parent?
Yeah, you don't go to school to learn how to be a mother or a father,
That'd be
It's-
fun.
Yeah, and I look at it too when you think about the marriage vocation, like, that was a vocation that came first before any other vocation you want to talk about in the church. Every other sacraments came after the fall. The marriage vocation has been there before then. It's like every other sacrament, maybe it will be like a reaction to the fall. The marriage vocation has always been there. It has always been in the mind of God to have a man and a woman come together. After we fell, we sinned, then, every other sacraments, the priesthood, and every other thing, came into. Yeah. Maybe at another show we should talk about, go into. I want us to explore that idea of the priesthood and even married more. It's interesting for our viewers to
Mm.
plug into that. Maybe there might be some people who are actually, thinking about vocation. We talk about our vocation stories, and people might actually find it very insightful and educative. We don't know. Maybe there are some of our young folks who are discerning vocation and they're contemplating, how do I want to be like Adam? Or do I want to be like Father Moses? Or do I want to be like Nicole?
I'm in between people. I have no idea. Well, I kind of do.
You're currently rocking. You're not in between anything. You're
Yeah.
single at
So
singlehood.
see, I got a different, unique perspective because I can't be a priest. But no, singlehood's a vocation. It is. There was a stage in my life where I thought I was going to be a sister. Like, seriously thought I was going to.
What changed that?
Kind of like starting youth ministry. I know it sounds weird, but there was when was it? Like 18 to 21. I was pretty sure that I was going to join and become a sister. I even went to the Carmelites and like talked to them and like tried to figure it out, and I started researching, and then what kind of happened is like college happened and it just kind of like fizzled out. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it was still there, but it kind of just like fizzled out. And then
A quick one.
yeah,
You said you visited a Carmelite. Is it the Carmelite nun, the ones who
are
the
cloistered.
who are cloistered for an extrovert person?
I wasn't going there to join them.
Okay.
I was going because it was the only place I knew to talk to a sister. I
Okay.
didn't.
We should have you go spend some time with Sister Lindsay Joan. Sister Lindsay Joan, are you tuned in?
Okay, at
Show the
that
ropes.
point, that didn't exist. Their order didn't exist. And I didn't, again, because my family is not practicing Catholic, so like we didn't have connections to really anyone. And like I really didn't tell anyone that I was thinking about this. And so it was the only place that I went and like knew to go to. And then, Adam was on my case about, you should be a sister. Still sometimes. Not as
all
much.
right, hold on.
No, don't even.
I'm going to lay this out for the people because this would be awesome. We're just using imaginations right now. There's no pressure here.
Yeah, there is.
Look, did I not advocate for your marriage
He did.
on an episode a couple
He
ago?
did.
So
I wasn't even done with my story. But he
it's
did.
true. It's true. I was.
Also, it's just kind of like an encouragement. It's never too late for anybody. If
It's true.
it's just to see where God is speaking to you at
Mhm.
that level in your relationship with God. If the need, I mean, you feel this call
Yeah.
towards serving God as
Yeah. And there was like a
nun like
distinct.
Sister Sean,
There was a
or-
distinct switch that happened at like 23. There was a distinct switch where like people all up to that were like, you should be a sister. Like a lot of people telling me I should be a sister. And then at like 23, it switched. Everyone saying you should be a mom. You should be a mom. You should be a mom. And then my brain switched to I'm called to marriage. Like it was like this very distinct switch that happened. And now I'm pretty sure that I am called to marriage, but right now I'm just rocking singlehood. So like, I when people are like, have you ever thought about sisterhood? Like, yes, I spent many years thinking I was going to become religious, but I do not think at this point it has changed. Vocation changes. It's supposed to.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm going to share just. I want you to get an idea of this. Check this out. Sister Nicole, Mother Nicole, running around at Camp Covecrest, playing ultimate frisbee and yelling at kids, rocking
That'd be awesome.
a national tour, opening up for Pope Francis or future Pope, World Youth Day, 2042. There you go.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would definitely, any parish I find myself, I'll bring all the kids. Let's go.
I
Let's
know
go.
this
Let's go,
sister.
sis. I know this sister. She is gonna drive a lot of energy in and out of you.
One of the most important things that I learned through my spiritual director was the time when I was trying to really weather out if I was going to be a good priest or if I was going to be a good husband. And my spiritual director said, you have the qualities to be good at both, and you have to be able to decide which one that you want. What do you want? Because the qualities that make a good husband and a father are many of the same qualities that make a really good religious or priest.
Have you forgotten why they call us father? You call me Father Moses.
Father Moses.
Yeah, that's you. I think your spiritual director was right on that. You need a priest that has to be. You might not have biological children, but in a way you're a father to a lot of people, and you have to have that heart of a father. Sometimes your kids will throw tantrum. Sometimes you have some grumpy parishioners or what have you, and do you just throw tantrum too? You have to learn how to be a father
Sure.
to
That'd be
even
funny.
people are at different stages of their faith.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody comes to your office and just like, oh, Father, why is this, and that? I mean, if you just want to throw baggage, but how do you react? Do you react to like a baby, just like, why come into my office? Get out of my office, And so being a priest, you just have to be um, a good father. Father in the spiritual sense of it, and even in the biological sense of it, you become a father, and that's why we all came from a father and a mother. So there is always something we tap from our both parents, whether they're together or they're not together, and that's my own understanding that it takes a community of two persons to bring forth a child. A mom and a dad comes together to have a child, whichever means people have devised this day to bring forth a child. We don't want to go into all of that, but
That's a whole other
yeah,
conversation.
but the whole point of it too is that even when people try to separate all of that, the point of it is that something is coming from the man, something is coming from the woman, you know, genetically, biologically, physiologically, whichever way you want to look at it. So as a nun, you have that female and that male strength coming out from you. As a priest, you have that female and male attribute coming from you. And as a father, a biological father, you have, I guess, there's times when Annie is just all stressed out, and you bring in the father attribute into the whole gameplay, and that is what makes life what it is.
Yeah. First off, shout out to Mary Florence. Thanks for thinking I'd be a
Thanks.
great mom or a sister. Now you know my life. I'm trying to decide. Just kidding, it's marriage, but that's fine. But also like
Pray
bring
for
up
her vocation.
yeah, just please pray for me as I figure out my life. So you bring up an interesting point. A lot of times I get questioned because I do a lot of morality talks. Like I don't know why, but they just call me up for morality talks all the time. The main question I get is why can't women be priests? I know the answer, but a lot of times, how I answer it is people think that men and women need to be the same. But as you were saying, they're not, and that's okay. Because both the female genius and the man bring very unique things into the world. And children, same thing. So I think that when people ask that question, they forget to prioritize the gifts of women. That's different than men. Men are supposed to be priests, while women are supposed to serve in different ways. Sisters, they're powerful examples of faith and powerful voices in the church that the ways priest cannot be.
Look at St. Gregory, for instance. And I say it with all sense of responsibility. I mean, when you go into a chapel of adoration, how many men do you find in there? Number one point. Um, if you go to any parish as a priest, for instance, I mean, and you're not friends with the Altar and Roses Society, or you have a lot of holy women who are praying for the parish and they will invite you to go for breakfast as a priest. If you're not friends with them, I don't think your mission in that parish might not be successful. The point I'm driving at is that, like what she said, women bring a whole lot of rich skill set into what is going on in the parish, and these are the ones that, how will I put it? It's not to say that men don't go to church, but For the most part, you find more women more in church than, and as a priest, whatever you're doing, you need everyone to carry everyone along. You know, I was in a conversation yesterday with Father Leon, and he, in plain terms, he just defined what is the role of a parish priest in the parish. It is to manage relationships, to manage relationships of different people in church. And I find that very, very profound. You have all kinds of people. You have um, people who say, Father, you have to do this way. You have to do this way. People come from different background to what they want they have from the priest. The question you just asked now about being a priest, a woman being a priest, sometimes is to dig deep to find out what is the intention of that
Mhm.
question. What are you driving at? Is
Mhm.
it just about power thing in the church or about service?
Yep.
If it is about service, you're having to serve. Is it motivated by show of prestige, show of power play? I want to be known in what I'm doing. But if not, we have a lot of people, a lot of nuns who have actually, you know, served God in humanity at different levels.
Yeah.
All of the priests you find, majority of the priests you found in Buffalo back then, they went to schools where the nuns were the ones who nurtured their vocation, and we can't put that aside. So, vocation, 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 marriage, priesthood is to find our vocation and serve God via those means, either through as a married person or as a priest. But there are people who are even single, who are not married, who are not priests, but they are still living their God-given vocation
Mhm.
to be single people, but who are serving God, discerning the will of God for them. So,
I feel like yeah, there's like big V vocation where it's like singlehood, religious, marriage, right? But there's also a small V vocation. It's your career. How are you going to serve with the gifts and talents God has given you?
yeah.
I've literally wrote a paper about this. It's crazy.
Ah,
It's part of my paper. The universal call to holiness is your vocation. Big
hmm.
V, small V. And one of the gifts of singlehood is that you can really live out that small V like really well. In my position as a youth minister, I am that motherly figure to a lot of kids. To a lot of kids. I mean, I'm not their mom. Like, there's a difference, but I am that motherly figure to a lot of children. And um, if I was married or whatever, I might not be able to give as much time as I can now to the kids and to the families. Like Adam, you're in a different scenario. You are married as a youth minister. Your first vocation is your family. My first vocation is my family, which is here.
So I can say that we are not making a mistake here as in graduate to have Adam and Nicole be our youth ministers. So when kids come around and they can see, okay, a married man with a family figure. They can look at a father. They can see the sense of fatherhood through you, and they can look at Nicole too and see, the sense of motherhood. And those of us who see us too. I mean, as priests, for those who are, nurturing vocation, you, you know, like back home and even here, people will come to ask you, why did you become a priest? And sometimes they will tell you know what, I've been feeling this call. I want to be a priest, and these are wonderful questions. These are discerning questions that people go through in the different stages of their life. So I think we're doing great here at St. Gregory. I'm not trying to blow our trumpets though.
It is, but it is cool to have a man and a woman in a youth ministry office because there are times that the high school girls do not want to talk to Adam. No offense, because they feel more comfortable coming to me about, I don't want to say girl problems, but they're more comfortable. But I have middle school boys that will only talk to men about certain things. Like he does the eighth grade men stuff, guy group stuff all the time. I don't want to talk to them about that stuff.
Guys, today we're going to talk about pornography.
Happy Valentine's Day. That actually happened. It was incredible. We had a pornography talk literally on Valentine's Day, and we both walk in. We're like, "Happy Valentine's Day! Time to talk about pornography!" And they all went, oh my gosh. And I'm like, come on, girls, you're coming with me. But that's a moment where it's like having a male and female youth minister it's a perfect demonstration of how females and men were made specifically in the image and likeness of God, and their gifts and talents are used to connect specifically.
And the point of drawing that is, it's complementary. It's not get it very well, because there are a lot of people who think that some people are not embracing faith because they think that our faith, Christianity, um, we 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 show favoritism, which is not so. God created everyone equal, man and female. I mean, male and female, He created them, but they're complementary.
Yeah.
We're complementary, and that is how we see ourselves. And like in marriage vocation, the husband and the wife, they kind of like mirror the life of the Trinity. The love you have for your wife, it mirrors the relationship that exists between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Saint Augustine puts that very clear, that between the Father and the Son, the Father, who is the lover, the beloved, and the love that exists between them, you see that is perfectly expressed in married life. So you see that husband and wife, you're equal, both of you, yourself and Annie. And as you raise your family, you show Christ to each other. You show Christ to the kids. These are the love, and that, in a way, mirrors the life of the Trinity in a complementary way. And so life of a man and a woman is complementary, not of superiority or inequality. We have to see life in that sense.
Yeah, Teresa's comment literally is what you just said. She said, men and women have equal value, but different roles that they thrive in.
Well, I mean, it starts all the way at the beginning in the creation story, when God took the rib from Adam, right? And He didn't take a piece of the head. He didn't take, a piece of the foot. Took it right at the heart, at the rib, where you don't have one person above or below the other, and I try to apply that into marriage, because Ani and I are equals when we come to the table. She's a lot better at some things than I am, as a mother, and as a father, I'm probably better at some other things. But there's a balance there between our gifts and our talents, and very complementary, like you said, and that complementary relationship pours into our kids, and
kind of parallels here. If you think about it, boom, boom, people we serve.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not married. We're not married. That's weird.
No.
But I'm just saying, like, how our office is framed.
Yeah.
We take the gifts and talents as men and female that we've created, and we serve the people that we serve. And you're literally married and do that, but I'm just saying here.
It's all true.
It's all true.
Well, hey, we are at 53 minutes right now.
Oh,
so
we're having
such
a good conversation.
We're cooking here, but I think this is probably a good spot to kind of leave off here, wrap it up.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
We covered a lot of territory between family and vocations here.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting one. I don't know. Was that even what we were planning to do? I don't think we had something.
Coffee Talk never actually really has a plan.
Yeah,
You just kind of go in and
just come in and just talk about something. And I think a lot of people, those who are looking at us, perhaps if they've tapped into one or two things, people will go later to check.
Yeah, a lot of people watch after, and
know.
they'll be like, "Oh, that was really good." Like my mom does that all the time.
Enjoy the talk, and if they have any questions, maybe questions coming forward, we might maybe come for another coffee talk and try that out. I love coming here. Thank you.
Father Moses, we love having you here too.
Thank you.
What?
Thank
You
you.
see him on the djembe. He's so good.
Oh yeah. Are you coming tonight? You coming to play?
I'll think about it.
All right.
Well, Mike just set up a whole drum set, so
Oh man.
he redid this whole thing. I don't even.
He's a wizard. He is a tech wizard.
He's good.
Father, do you want to close us with a blessing? A little prayer? Or
Player?
A player.
A little player?
In the
little player.
Father, Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Good and gracious God, we thank you for the gift of life. In a very special way, we thank you for the gift of families. thank you for the gift of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, the one who came to teach each and every one of us how to love, how to serve as either a married father or, or as a single person or as a priest. We pray, even as we are still basking in the joy of resurrection, that the grace of the risen Christ will continue to be with us and will be with our families and with all of our viewers, our parishioners back home, and those who are looking at us. And we ask the good Lord to strengthen us, to bless us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Father. And thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow or tonight or
Yeah,
whenever.
P-Dubs is tonight at 7.
It's all true. It's all true.
It's all true.
So, all right, guys, have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Peace
Soon.
out.